I have been married for 5 years but no child. My husband was really supportive and trying all his best to encourage me not to give up, that God's time is the best. We both went to the hospital for doctor's checkup and the doctor said we are both okay and all we needed was some fertility drugs to help us through the process. We kept on praying. Did I tell you that I don't miss church? Almost every day of the week I go to church for praying. I fast almost all time and I visit all night just to make sure that God hears my prayer. So I was still on that fertility drugs when my mother-in-law came and told us that we needed to visit this traditional woman who gives traditional medicine and also help women with stomach massage in order to prepare their womb for childbirth. I told my mother-in-law I'm a Christian and I don't do diabolic things. My husband tried to encourage me that is not diabolic, it's only a traditional way of preparing the womb for pregnancy, and I said no way, God's time is the best. My husband, knowing me well that whatever I say is what I do, he gave up and he did not even pressure me more. And that was how I kept on taking the fertility drugs the doctor gave to me until I got tired of it and I quit. Yes, 6 years into the marriage, I am pregnant. I told my husband, you see, God's time is the best. I am pregnant, and my husband was really happy and he said we were going to keep it a secret until the pregnancy reveals himself. And I told my husband I can't hide what God has done for me. In that way, I'm going to church to share my testimony. My husband could not convince me not to because he knows that whatever I say I will do is what I do. So I went to church and I shared my testimony. I told my pastor and everyone congratulated me. I went to the hospital for registration and I started going for my monthly checkup. Second trimester into the pregnancy, the doctor told me that I was having high sugar level and I need to slow down on my sugar intake and I also have to watch my diet. When I got to church, I told my pastor about it and my pastor said that I should fear not because God is with me and I'm going to deliver safely like an Hebrew woman. He wrote down some Bible verses for me which I should be reading every morning and every evening, and that I was so consistent with. So a few weeks after, I have another appointment in the hospital, and this time around my husband had to accompany me down to the hospital. Getting there, the doctor did some checkup and told me that my baby was already too big by this time and we have to schedule a date so that I will have to deliver before due date. So we agreed and the date was fixed for me to come to the hospital, and the doctor advised that I should not stop taking my vitamin. Getting home, I told my husband I was tired of that vitamin and I wasn't going to take it again. After all, in few weeks' time, the baby will be out. My husband could not tell me otherwise because it's whatever I say I want to do that I always do. So we kept on moving and praying to God for that day to come and I would deliver safely like an Hebrew woman like I've always prayed. My husband kept on disturbing me because of the vitamin, so I got angry and I told him I needed a time with God. So I moved out of the house and go to church to spend 1 week in church, and when I got to church, my pastor asked me why I was in church instead of my house. I told my pastor that the enemies were after my life, so I needed to seek refuge in the house of God. He prayed with me and told me not to give up on my faith, and then left me there, even though I didn't tell him the truth why I really left home. 1 week after, I went home and my husband was happy that I'm back. We prepared for the date I was supposed to go to the hospital, and when we got to the hospital, they prepared me for the labor room. Getting there, the doctor told me that I was not going to push the baby out like normal because they are going to assist me in bringing the baby out. I told the doctor, I am not a lazy woman. I am not a weak woman. I will push out my baby because the Lord has promised me that I will give birth like an Hebrew woman. The doctor told me this has nothing to do with giving birth like an Hebrew woman or not. Neither does it have anything to do with being a strong woman or a weak woman. That all they need is for me and my baby to be okay, and that is why they need to help me bring the baby out because the baby is too big. I refused and I said I was going to deliver normal. The doctor said okay and my husband said okay because it's what I say I want to do that I always do. So when it was time for me to push, I pushed the baby and pushed and pushed. After several hours of labor, the baby was not coming, and this time around I was so weak. The doctor said the only way out is to bring the baby out. Either I agree or I go to another hospital, and this time I was really weak, so I had no choice but to agree. And when they were in the process of bringing the baby out, they found out that it was a little bit more complicated than it was initially. So the doctor said we have to choose either keeping the woman and taking out the baby, or keeping the baby and leaving the woman to go. My husband, in pain, said, let's keep the woman and leave the baby to go. God will bring another baby. So I was in pain too, but I could not say otherwise because this time around I was really so weak. After all trying, the baby went and we could not save the baby. Guys, the shocking news was when the doctor told me that There will be no more babies because the womb was already affected, and this time around they have to take out the womb also. My husband was so much in pain. Let me not just talk about my own pain. I tried to hold my husband's hands, but he was too weak and I could not get strength from his own strength. He went home to get me some few things because I was going to be staying a little long in the hospital. So after some time, I was discharged to go home. Getting home, I met some few things in the parlor and I asked my husband, "Are we traveling?" To me, I thought we were going out for a vacation to cool off our head, but my husband said, "No, we are not traveling, but you are leaving. You are going back to your parents' house. Your stubbornness has brought us to this condition and I cannot take it. You have to go back to your parents' house because I waited 6 years to have this child. And now, how long do I wait, even when the doctor said there is no womb to have another baby? I'm so sorry, my wife. I love you, but I cannot start what I will not be able to finish. You have to go. I will give you some money to start up your life again because I'm also moving on with my life. Sorry it's hard to end this way, but this is all I can do for you." I cried and I know that I could not change my husband's mind because he's not a man that is quick to make decisions. And when he do, he has said it and he has said it. So I had to pack my things and I went to my family's house. They blamed me for my stubbornness. And when I called my pastor to tell him all that has been happening, this time around my pastor was shocked and disappointed. And he said to me, "My daughter, while you were praying, you were supposed to be working because prayer without work is dead. You have to work hard even while you are praying because heaven helps those who help themselves. You cannot skip your drugs and disobey your pastor and expect God to do a miracle in your life. God works through your daughter. That is why you have to obey your daughter and pray that God should work through them." You were actually praying without taking the advice of your daughter, which was very wrong. Now, this is how I've gotten myself out of my husband's house. I don't even have the baby and I wasted 6 good years of my life. Where do I even start from? So, my dear women, giving birth is not a competition. And however the doctor has asked you to give birth, believe in God and trust the process. God will do the rest. Make sure you listen to the advice of your doctor. It doesn't mean you are lazy, neither does it mean you are a weak woman. All that is important is that you are okay and your baby is okay also. Thank you so much for listening to this very short video. And don't forget, this is not a true life story of anybody. It is purely scripted for educational purpose only. Hope you enjoyed the recipe also that you were watching on the screen. Kindly hit the subscribe button. Follow us if you are watching us on Facebook. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share this video and drop a comment. Let's know what you think about this very interesting video. Thank you so much for stopping by on our page. We love you. Bye.